If they were workers and we could organize them and we could help their lives, we'd do it, by damn.
The reason we have a 40-hour work week is thanks to the labor movement that came before me.
We had to fight in a county, we had to fight in a school, we had to fight in a city, we had to fight in a state.
The sanitation workers, they were crying out for help, and Martin Luther King Jr. answered the call.
Keep on marching until we got what we want.
They wanted a union, and they were willing to fight for it, and in some cases die for it.
There was a large difference in pay between the women's positions and the males.
This is the United States of America, and people are entitled to a basic right like health care.
Wisconsin started as a protest and became a national movement.
AFSCME, they spoke up, they spoke out.
It's not the fact that we won, it's the fact that we fought.
We have come too far, we have bled too much, we have fought too hard. We can't stop now.
When a governor, could be a mayor, went into power, if the people that were already working for a city or a state were not of his or her political party, he would fire them, and he would replace them with his own people who helped them get elected.
They felt that was wrong. They felt that public service was a noble occupation, and that they wanted to remain regardless of the changes that took place within the administration.
A man by the name of Colonel Gary and a man by the name of Arnold Zander put together an organization.
They were fighting for the right not to be fired because they weren't one of the governor's guys. And that's exactly how AFSCME was formed. People wanted to have the same kinds of protections that private sector workers had in this country. And it spread state by state at first, and then it started spreading city by city.
There were a number of victories for the union over the course of time. In 1938 in Philadelphia, they went to the mayor and they asked for a 10-cent increase. The mayor told them to get out, my way or the highway. So they selected the highway, and they went on strike. The union was recognized, and they got a nickel. The Depression wasn't over, so a nickel was a lot.
After President Zander, Jerry Worf became president, and he really took AFSCME to the next level.
To negotiate with the boss for wages, hours, and working conditions. Public sector workers were not covered by any particular law.
A lot of folks didn't believe that public service workers should have a union. They had civil service protections. Folks believed that that was enough, but it wasn't enough.
Laws started to be passed in states and in cities that allowed organizing. So pretty much as a law would pass, organizing happened. Probably the biggest one was the organization of Pennsylvania.
It could be a city, it could be a state, it could be a county, it could be a school district, but they had to fight for these laws.
In 1971, 2 associations in Hawaii, both affiliated. In 1978, the Civil Service Employees Association in New York affiliated, and that's what finally pushed AFSCME over the 1 million member mark. There were big organizing campaigns in Florida and Illinois, Iowa. AFSCME didn't organize just city by city, county by county, state by state. Really, it was almost profession by profession. Any workers who didn't have a voice but were paid for by the state.
Before in-home family providers had a union, we faced a lot of obstacles. The state were able to change the rules without notice, which they did. They were able to cut our pay without notice, which they did. AFSCME was our backbone.
Don't let nobody turn around. We don't keep on marching.
Black sanitation workers in Memphis were treated very badly.
The pay was just horrendous, conditions horrendous, and so they went out to fight for better ones.
It was a question of dignity. So you had black men carrying signs saying, "I'm a man."
Some of our people knew Dr. King and asked him if he would come to Memphis and join the battle with us.
He heard the call. He answered the call. The night of April 3rd, 1968, he spoke from his gut.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. brought the city of Memphis to the table to recognize the Union. The Civil Rights Movement and the labor movement went hand in hand.
You had nurses, student nurses that were 17 and 18 years old, and we had people like hospital aides and correction people that were at work. They were called by Jane, John, and Jim, but you had to call those young girls Mr. and Mrs. and all that kind of stuff.
When you talk about civil rights, you have to talk about Bill Lucey. For 38 years, he was one of the highest-ranking African Americans in the labor movement. He was very instrumental in the sanitation workers' strike. In 1984, he formed the Free South Africa movement, and eventually, as we know, the apartheid regime ended. Nelson Mandela was released from jail in 1990. He attended the AFSCME convention, kind of as a way to say thanks for your support.
AFSCME has always been an organization that stands up and fights for the rights of people who tend to be left behind.
In 1981, I was elected president. At that time, there was an obvious disparity between the wages of women and the wages of men.
They made like $8 an hour and you made $2 an hour.
It was clear that they were being underpaid, and they decided that they had to stand up and fight for their rights.
So the women in the city of San Jose went out and did something about it, and we stood up and fought back.
They took themselves out on strike, which was unheard of, particularly for that kind of reason. And we were there to walk with them, fight for them, and we won that.
I'm grateful to all of the people in Washington and in the city of San Jose who stood up before me to make this happen.
We fought for civil rights, we fought for women's rights, we fought for gay rights.
Bush said that he was going to do away with Social Security. He was going to go out across the country and try and get the people to agree to take down Social Security.
We were against it. We didn't like the idea. We felt it wasn't proper. We felt we earned what we got. We wanted to keep it.
From the first day he left the White House, we were with him. Every rally, every street corner.
When George Bush went on the road, there were thousands of angry retirees that went to meet him, and he was not a happy camper.
He found out that the more he was out there, the less support he had for doing away with Social Security, so he chucked it in.
As public health nurses, we saw the need. We were out in the community, going out there and telling parents, your child needs glasses. Well, I can't afford it. I don't have health insurance.
People are entitled to a basic right like health care. We asked Bill Clinton to get in the battle for health care for American workers.
When it didn't pass, I was thinking, well, it has to come. It just has to come. I spoke to the other public health nurses, the members of the local.
We went to Washington, we rallied, we lobbied, we signed petitions, we did phone banking, anything and everything that was necessary for us to get that through. And we did it.
When Governor Walker was elected, all hell broke loose. Putting forth SB 11, Special Bill 11, that would completely remove our rights to organize and collectively bargain.
In the state of Wisconsin, where we were born, we now have a governor who has stolen our voices, taken away the rights of those workers to have a union.
There was no discussion at this point. It was just, you're done. So we occupied the state capitol.
It started out 20,000 people. And that went up to 30 and 40 and 50 and 100,000.
75 years ago, Wisconsin lit a spark that changed this country. That spark is being reignited.
The students were there. Private sector workers were there. My neighbors, my friends came of their own accord because this was wrong.
En marzo del 2009, el nuevo gobierno estableció una ley que quitaba todos los derechos a los empleados públicos. Con esa ley también trajo despidos a más de 30.000 empleados públicos. Desde ese momento comenzamos la negociación colectiva y comenzamos nuevamente a adquirir lo que el gobierno nos había quitado por 2 años.
Ohio wanted to take collective bargaining rights away from all public sector workers. We started a petition drive, and we needed several thousand signatures to present to get the petition started. Then we had to have 250,000 signatures to get it on the ballot. People off the street that had no contact with AFSCME, no contact with OPSI, and they were out helping you get signatures. People were crying, worrying that we were not going to win, and we won overwhelmingly.
This is a big fight, a big public fight, and they're going to lose it. It's going to hurt them.
Politicians are always saying they're going to help the middle class. Well, guess what? We are the middle class.
Public service workers serve. That's what we do.
When you need us, we're there.
I'll be 77 come January, okay? And I ain't giving up, and I'm going to fight till the day I die to keep what we got.
Our public service workers are on the attack around the country, and we need the next generation to take the active role and take part in our fight. And that's what the next wave is about. The younger workers taking accountability and stepping up.
As long as you have the will to fight, you have the power to win.
People like myself, presidents, officials, they come and go, but the union institutionally stays and stays and stays.